Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Raptor X here with Good Clean Gaming RX, and today we are back in Blender once again. We're going to do something a little different. We're going to take a break from the hand tools that we've been making over the past couple of weeks, and we are going to make ourselves a barrel. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to add ourselves a mesh cylinder. And we've got a couple of options on this one when we add it. There we go, that we can add the number of vertices. So this would be, I guess, the number of panels that make it up on the outside. This would be a 16 panels. So like if we, reduce this, you'll start to see the number of panels, so to speak, kind of reduce here. I think I'm probably going to go for like 24. That should be plenty there because it's divisible by quarters. 4. And then we're also going to change the radius here slightly. A meter wide barrel is probably too much. I want to do this at just 1.0, and radius on the barrel we probably only want 2.5 inches or so. Sorry, feet, 2.5 feet, but that's radius. So we want 0.5 or so would be about, it's probably even a little bit too big there. So let's go for like 0.4. Okay. If I bring up the calculator here, we can go 39 times 0.4. 15.6 times 2, 31. Yeah, that's about right. And that'll at least give us a starting point. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll get into here. And I'm going to add a couple of loop cuts here. We're going to do one in the middle. Okay, just kind of do something like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and start scaling this one. Okay. I guess we want, there we go, we want the ring selection. Scale like so. And yeah. Alright. So that'd be a basic sort of barrel, but this is really just like the outside, right? So we want this to be like an actual, to have an inside to it. This is going to be a little bit more it'll be a little bit different here. So I'm going to take a look and see. I'm pretty sure there is an offset tool. There we go, inset faces. There we go. And then we can go ahead and that kind of gives us an appearance of depth to it, so to speak. And then we're going to go ahead and extrude this like that. And then, let's see, we're going to go ahead and we'll scale that out slightly. There we go. Go to a frame here and just kind of take a look at that. There we go. That actually looks just about perfect there. And that'll kind of give us the top of it that'll kind of make it look, as it should. Now, I guess if you wanted to get this lid back out of there, you'd need to have this portion of the barrel pretty much straight. So I'm going to pull this up and we'll take a look here and see. There we go. We'll kind of take a look and see how these would work. So, of course, only the alcohol ones are, are actually showing up. There we go. So they've got like it's pretty much straight there on the end, so that this top bit can come back out. 26-inch wide. That's about right. Um, we're kind of seeing about the same, where it's pretty much straight on the ends here, and then it's just a gentle belly for each of those. So I've already kind of goofed things up a little bit. We'll go ahead and change that just so that we've got a straight edge there. Apparently that's the only thing that barrels are really used for anymore in the modern day, are for making whiskey. um, yeah, yes, this would be more of like someone's designed one in 2D sort of thing. Anyway, um, those little miniature ones. So we're gonna change our slightly. There we go. That's kind of what I was looking for. Was something like that. But obviously that's not how those are done. So we're gonna go with something like that. There we go. Let's go ahead and we'll download the image, and we're just gonna put this as barrel reference. There we go. And then we can go ahead and we'll go here and we'll add an image and we'll go to downloads. There we go. Perfect. And then we'll scale that down to match. There we go. Perfect. All right. Oh, you know what? We're going to move this slightly, move that on the Y. There we go. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and scale these out slightly. There we go. Obviously these barrels are not orthographic view, so they're slightly they've got the perspective to it. So I'm just going to bring it out and match on the ends there. There we go. All right. And then actually it looks like that portion of it is pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and we'll do another loop cut and we'll bring this up to about right there. There we go. And that'll kind of give us more of the look that we're looking for there. That's actually pretty close, matching on all of the edges there. So the barrel staves, I guess, that the insides that this would have been made of were probably a little different. Probably a little thinner too. So, okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go back out to solid here. And obviously we've not dragged these, so do this. We're gonna go back to wireframe. I'm gonna drag. There we go. Good. We'll drag those back up, and we'll drag these up as well. Z. There we go. And of course, those are way too big. So I'm going to select the ring here, and we'll scale these using Shift Z, so without the vertical. Bring this back out to solid. There we go. So that's kind of got our top of the barrel, so to speak, and this portion you'd be able to remove to then get in and access the stuff that's on the inside. So I think I want to do this a little different though. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to ring select or loop select this, and I'm going to then take this. There we go. I'm going to deselect those so that I've just got this outer panel. Copied one selected object. So it didn't copy the vertices then. Let's see if there's a contextual subdivide split. Separate. There we go. Selection. Nope, that's just kicked it out to a new object. Which that might be okay actually. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to hide that one. And then we're going to get into here. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll select all of this. And we're going to extrude this. We're just going to do it on the tool. Extrude it in. So that's kind of how the barrel was looking. There we go. All right, and so that gives us our staves. And then I'm going to scale this just a hair. There we go. So that you kind of get that, so to go all the way around. It might be a little bit too much. And then I'm going to look at the modifier here, and there's a generate array. There we go. And we want to go for fixed count. And we want to go, what do we agree, 24? There we go. And we want to go for an object offset. And actually, that's got the array there. Now there's, I think, a default. There we go. Form curve. Then go ahead and add, we'll add a mesh. Go for a circle. Go for 0.4. And we'll go for 24 of those. There we go. And just go for a triangle fan fill there. All right, good. And then I'm going to go back to here and we're going to select the object here. Nope. All right, so that's not going to work then. Let's do. Nope, that's not going to work there either. We want to do this on the local Y. We don't want this to be able to curve, to move this way. We want to do it this way. So I'm going to bring this distance down. Okay, there we go. So let's go 0.1. There we go. And that's kind of got those all that way. Let's bring this to 0 then. And we're going to go 3. Let's go 1. That's almost it right there. And then it doesn't do anything that way. All right, we'll turn that one off then. And then there's a way to do this. Generate, there we go. I want to say it was like a multiple array sort of thing. Copies of the shape with sets. That's not it. No. Bill. It's not that way either. And split mirror screw. Lay the rounded axis. There we go. Whoa. All right, so that's that's not what we were looking for. Let's go for, can we do 1 like that? There we go. Steps viewport. There might be a few too many here. Let's go. Oh goodness. There we go. So that's done 24 like that. That's actually almost exactly what we're looking for there. 360 degrees. We don't want to go up, and we just want to go. Yeah, that's not gonna do what we need it to do. Can we merge these? Shading. Okay. Flip that. it's close, but it's not quite what I want it to do because there's this extra bit there. There's actually a way to do this. I may end up having to do some research on this one and see exactly how that works. But for right now, this is kind of what I'm looking for. Oops, we'll turn this one back off. And then I'm going to go ahead and delete that one. There we go. And then in order to do the bands here, we're going to go ahead and we're going to add a circle, and we're not going to fill it. And we're going to extrude it on the z-axis. Doesn't work that way. All right. We're gonna there we go. Bring that up on the Z. There we go. And we're basically going to make these bands. There we go. And then we'll go ahead and there we go. Because I could have just used a face select there as well. There we go. And then we're going to extrude scale, not on the Z. There we go. And then I'll make that little band there. Oops. Goodness. All right, we've done that. There we go, from the wrong perspective. There we are. Just a little more. There we go, perfect. All right, so that's done our first band there. And then we can go ahead and there's a way to duplicate this as well. Not sure exactly what it is. Move, rotate, scale, transform, add. I probably spin. Nope. There we go. Nope, it's not that either. There's a way to duplicate these, but I guess we can basically just do this same process here. There's a lot of options here. All right. This is kind of the struggle sometimes when I've been away from Blender. I don't remember exactly how to do some of these things. So I guess we could use a generate array to do 3 of them, but then I can't position them as I want them to be. So we're just gonna go ahead and we'll add another circle. There we go, with no fill. And that's about the right size there. So we're going to go back to vertices. Just like this. And then extrude those on a scale. There we go, just like that. All right. And then go like that. And like this. And like that. And like that. Just select these. And then we're going to bring these up. There we go, kind of like so. That band a little wider. There we go. You know what? Let's bring this one up and do it on this one. There we go. And then we're going to need to move there we go, out like that. Okay. And then I'm going to take this top loop here and we're going to bring it in. There we go, to meet that stave there. All right. And we'll go ahead and add another circle here. And bring this up to match the location of that band. Go. And then I'm going to look over here at this one. Go. There we go. And then match that slightly. There we go. Perfect. All right, so that's got our barrel. And then I'm just going to do a modifier here. And we are going to do a mirror on the z-axis. There we go. So our barrel is going to be, perfectly vertical, so to speak. And then anything that we do here will be done on the opposite side. So that's got our bands there. And then I guess I'm going to do some research in the next episode, before the next episode, and figure out how we can do this. Actually, I might just do this here. There we go. To create a circular array, you can use the array modifier and a curve modifier, along with an empty object for controlling the rotation and positioning. So first we'll add an array modifier to your object and set the count to the desired number. Then add a curve modifier and select a circle or any curve as the curve object. Finally, add an empty object and use it in the array modifier's object offset setting to control the circle arrangement. Okay, let's try that then. So we'll go ahead and we're going to use the array modifier on this one. So we're going to go for a curve offset. Hit curve. Oh, an array modifier and a curve modifier. Okay, and the count. So we're going to go fixed count, and we're going to go 24. There we go. And we're going to go for a relative offset. There we go. And then we're going to add a curve modifier. There we go. And then we're going to add the object. That's the curve object. So we're going to go ahead and it's not letting us use that. So let's go ahead and we'll add a curve circle. There we go. All right, so we needed a. There we go. All right, and then let's try this. There we go. We can select that Bezier circle. There we go. Whoops. Nope, we're doing this on the wrong one. There we go. All right. We'll select our circle. Oh, goodness. We want this axis to be on X. That's not exactly what we're looking for. It's going at least the right way. And then we're going to add an empty. There we go. And then in the array modifier, we're going to use the object. Okay, so we're going to go here. Oh, yeah, that's definitely not going the way that we want there. Object offset, and then we'll select the empty. There we go. And then we can rotate and move the empty. Oh, there we go. Oh, well, that's interesting, but it's not exactly what we're looking for. There's an awful lot of fun stuff that can be done with this. Constant offset Y. Let's change this to 0. It's definitely not going on the way that we want that to go. So, oh, that could be Y perhaps. Let's delete that. Shift A, empty, Q. There we go. And then we'll go back to the barrel stave here. And we're going to add, there we go, empty 1. Oops, no, we just want empty. Oh, that's, yeah, empty O1. There we go. And then we'll go back and look at this, and there we go. There's our relative offset. Problem is these are still getting bigger, so we may have to fiddle with this. Rotate, and we're going to do this one on Z. There we go. All right, and then the relative offset is what we want. Let's go ahead and scale that down some there. Just kind of get what we're looking for there. And then deform axis. Not what we're looking for either. We definitely want it on the x-axis. All right. Rotate and move the empty. Position and rotation. Scale change the radius of the circular array. So, if we rotate this on the Z, to kind of get that wrap. Oh, got some really weird going on there now. Maybe we don't need a rotation. This is really, really weird. Definitely got, you've definitely got the makings of a barrel. Just the staves are all not quite doing what they should. So, I think I'm gonna do a little more research on this one. Because this is definitely not behaving like I want it to. You know, it should just be a quick spin around sort of thing. If I, oh, hang on. If I move it in here, there we go. That kind of aligns it that way. Let's go like this. So close. Ooh, so close there. All right. Oh. uh, we've got some really weird stuff going on here. This is this is really weird. We've still got gaps there, so um, we're so close, so close. It's just that one stave now that we're not quite in position. Um, do like that. Oh, there we go. That's kind of what we're looking for there. And then if we do, I've gotten one too many in there. So it's kind of looped around. There we go. No, it's still missing over here. All right, I'm gonna have to work on this quite a bit because it's not doing what I want it to. Because I think it's because it's rotating around this bit here. And it's, yeah, we almost need to do, there's some really weird stuff that you can do with this. All right, that's gonna be it for today. I'm gonna have to do some research, but that's gonna be it because I'm running out of time today. So, thank you all for watching. Take care, and I will see you in the next one where hopefully we can get this working properly. All right, everyone, take care. Ta-ta.